Good morning.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Morning Deuce, Monday, May 23rd. Incredible episode of Game of Thrones last night. The writing, man. I just sometimes the way that show is written, the beginning of the season was a little predictable. And I think everyone was getting built into wow, it's kind of going the direction we thought. And this episode was a tangent for sure. But we learned a lot of incredibles, and the writing was so good. So props off to that. You guys know I'm in a Game of Thrones fantasy league, which is the nerdiest thing ever. I don't even know how it's scored. I have 9 guys on my team. Only one of them was actually in the episode last night. So we couldn't have done very well. Literally only one character. So that was kind of crazy. I went to a wedding this weekend. A lot of fun. Amazing family, beautiful weather, nice venue. It was great. But so at the wedding they do a bunch of toasts and people get up and give speeches and they're all great heartfelt speeches. But I was talking to my brother, we're sitting in the audience, and I was laughing to him because when I listen to the speeches, I don't know if it's me or whatnot, but I kind of put my head in the position of the person giving the speech and what I know, and I think what would I say about this person? What type of speech would I give? And even if I don't know the person that well, I kind of try to feel out a speech. I realized, and I told this to my brother, and he thought I was absolutely crazy, so maybe this is weird. I realized I sometimes sort of give emotional speeches about people. Is that weird? I don't know. I have some great friends from high school who went to a bachelor party just recently in Las Vegas, and one of them, I was talking to him, and for some reason I started thinking about wedding stuff because my friends are at that age, and I figured one day he'll get married and probably give a speech, and somehow that came up. I think I was about to get in the car. I'm like, well, what would his wedding be like? What type of speech would I give? And next thing I know, I'm driving to work, giving a pretend wedding toast speech in my own head. I'm not talking out loud, but I'm kind of doing it in my own head about my friend on the way to work. Is that weird? Does anyone else ever do that? I don't know. I remember once I heard about some study where, there was a group that practiced free throws and then a group that visualized shooting free throws, and they weren't that different. The group that practiced was only slightly better than the group that just visualized it. Is that how it works with speeches? Am I going to be an amazing speech giver for these critical moments because I practice them in my head at random times when I was driving places? But yeah, it's strange, but when I go to a wedding or something like that, or some type of commencement or some type of situation where a speech has to be given, even a sad one, I catch myself weirdly doing it if I have to go to a wake or something like that. And I don't know, maybe that's a weird, I guess maybe I have this strange desire to pay tribute to people. But that's what I realized. The wedding was great. It was fun. The family's amazing. These people are just beautiful, sweet, caring people. And everyone who came up was genuinely talking about how, especially people that weren't directly related to the family, what an honor it was, to be married into the family or to consider the family their own or just to be included. And that stuff's great. It was such a happy place to be. But I started to realize that even with people I don't know, if the situation calls for it, I'll start practicing. So I guess let me know if that makes me a crazy person. Am I a crazy person because randomly I just get caught up in my own head pretending to give a speech about something? Is that egotistical? I can't tell if that's empathetic and giving or if that's just being a narcissistic jerk. Because part of me is oh, look at me, kind of mentally, I like this person so much, I want to honor them. Oh, that's so nice. The other part of me is I need the spotlight on and a microphone. Listen to how amazing I can be talking about somebody else. Because, when you give a good speech, everyone's oh, that was so, what a wonderful person he must have been. But they go up to the person who gives the speech and they're you killed it. They don't go up to the person who the speech was about. So I think maybe it's a narcissistic, that being the youngest child I am, I just grew up with the attention whoreness of needing all the attention of everyone older than me all the time. Maybe my speeches in my own head is just part of that. I don't know. But I'm a good public speaker, so maybe it's the practice. Maybe it's all the mental reps. I'm a pretty good public speaker. I mean, I also do a lot of, I speak a lot. I talk to people a lot, so that might help too. But the mental reps, I'm just getting those in. So you give me a hot mic, I can talk about anything, clearly. We're noticing right now. But yeah, happy Monday, everybody. Let's get it in gear. Let's set a couple goals. I'm going to work on making a schedule again this week. Last week, I turned it up. I was pretty good. I got some stuff done that was on my list. I did well. So hopefully you guys can do the same. And now it's time for part 2. And for part 2, we're talking NBA basketball real quickly because we have the flop and the kick. And that's what these last 2 playoff games have been about, the flop and the kick. The flop was LeBron James getting gently brushed in the face by his own teammate's arm, not realizing it was his teammates, and flopping to try to draw a foul call, which was successful. He flopped so hard he looked like he got shot in the face with a gun from point-blank range, when in actuality, nothing really happened to him. He took a dive. So what do we see the next night? We see the next night a questionable situation where a player gets fouled, and somehow during the follow-through, they may or may not have purposely kicked another player in the groin, in the male. This is like where I might take the clip from The Simpsons, football in the groin, football in the groin. That comes right now.
But the ball is groin. It works at so many levels. Roll it again.
That scenario happens, and we don't really know if it was on purpose or not. And I think flopping culture in NBA basketball has gotten so bad. And I applaud people trying to take a competitive advantage, you know? I was a poker player for a long time. You take any angle you can get an advantage, you take it. So I understand that. But it is kind of the boy who cried wolf scenario. I mean, the flopping culture is so bad in the NBA with people playing with the sole intention of getting a foul, offensive plays with the sole intention of getting a foul, that you almost always give the benefit of the doubt to the aggressor, to the person not trying to draw the foul. I mean, you want to say that Draymond Green didn't do it on purpose, the guy who made the kick. You want to say he didn't do it on purpose because we just saw the biggest star in the world fake an injury or fake being hurt or fake being fouled, however you want to say it, the night before. It's already slanted in my brain where I assume that everything is over-exaggerating in the NBA. So how do we really know? They've created this for themselves. So the flop and the kick, that's what NBA playoffs have devolved to in the conference finals. So I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm rooting for the Warriors at this point. But I think the kick might have been on purpose. But I don't know because my frame of reference is all messed up because of how many people just flop all the time in the NBA. Ugh, I sound like an old man. All right, that's it. It's been the Morning Deuce. Davis Spindle, we got a good week coming. Hopefully this Friday will be our first guest. So check out hashtagtrending.com. I got some good stuff coming. And yeah, have a great day. Deuces.